Ashley, thank you so much for joining us. You actually went out to that scene.
Yeah, so we responded. Our agency had a request to respond from the sheriff's department for the county. One of our enforcement officers was first on scene, and he asked me to join him as a little bit of backup. This was after the incident that you see on the video had already occurred. So by the time I got there, it was really just to secure the cub and see if we can locate the other cub and kind of get a hold of the situation. When I arrived, that bear cub had been found on the edge of a retention pond, a little bit inside the water on the edge of the retention pond. So it seemed to be shivering. It was probably a bit cold, and it did seem to be favoring one of its paws at the time. So luckily I was able to scoop it up pretty quickly. We got it over to one of our licensed rehab facilities here in Western North Carolina that specializes in the rehab for bear cubs. And it got care right away, and I've been told it's doing just fine in the rehabilitation center, eating well, drinking well, and it even has joined up with another bear cub that was orphaned earlier in the year. So it has a buddy as well.
As far as that bear, so for the next 8 to 9 months, it sounds like it's going to be kind of getting some care rehabilitation. Can you kind of tell our viewers about that process for the bear cub?
Yeah, so we basically want to make a big, independent, healthy bear, and that's what we're aiming for. So during its care, it'll get as little human interactions as possible, so that it doesn't become associated with people. It doesn't see people as a sort of food as well. So when it's released sometime in the fall, maybe late summer, if it's eligible for release, it'll go out here in the mountains here in North Carolina. And it'll be an independent bear. We find that our rehabilitated bears do very well upon release. They usually go find a den later in the fall, and they den through the winter just as any other wild bear would.
And so that's why we won't be seeing as many pictures of the bear because y'all are kind of keeping your distance from it, right?
Exactly. They try to be hands off as much as possible, no unnecessary contact.
As far as that second bear cub, has there been any reports of it being spotted? Have you guys heard anything at this point? And also, why is it important to make sure that that bear cub is able to find its mom?
Yeah, so we haven't had any sightings of the bear cub reported to us. Certainly, we spoke with staff with the apartment complex where the incident took place. They have my direct line, so as soon as they see something, they are going to let me know. But it's not necessarily a bad thing if we don't see this cub again. The female bear, or the mother bear in this case, is a well-known bear around that complex. She frequents that area quite a bit. So there's a good chance that the cub and the female bear have already linked back up.
As far as when you went out to that scene, were you able to speak to any of the people who were involved in that video at all? And if so, kind of what was their reaction? What did you guys kind of speak about?
Yeah, so we were able to make some contact initially. We talked about how dangerous it was, both for those people involved in the situation and for these bear cubs as well. I let them know that we were taking the cub into a rehab facility, and kind of spoke through the rehab process just as you and I are now. And we were able to kind of talk about what their intentions were, and really hammer home that this was inappropriate behavior, and they should never approach any sort of wildlife like this in the future.
What kind of message do you think that all of the response from this sends?
Yeah, so I see a lot of positive responses that as a biologist, it makes me happy to see. I think for the most part, when people see this video, they're frustrated because they know what these people did was inherently wrong. It was a wrong choice. And it seems like most people know what they should have done. Most people know that you should give wildlife lots and lots of space. If you want to take a picture of wildlife, use the zoom on your camera. It's there for a reason. So as a biologist, those were the feedback that we got was really good, that people know what they should be doing, and this seems like an isolated incident.
And if anybody is looking for resources, I know y'all have a lot of resources. What is the best way for people to be able to learn more about how to safely interact with bears or how to cohabitate, rather?
Yeah, the best resource, and one that I am often referring people to, just day to day even, is bearwise.org. It teaches people how to keep bears wild in order to keep people and pets safe. And it covers a lot of different topics around your community, or even if you're recreating outdoors as well. So if you're looking for information on black bears in particular, bearwise.org has everything that you need.
All right, Ashley, thank you so much for joining us and speaking with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.